All right. Hey guys, welcome to the Monday Night Dream Team Zoom. It is August 17th already. We are past the halfway point for August. If you guys have not watched the power plan from last night where we talk about mid-month, what to be focused on, what to be worrying about, it's on the YouTube, so you can definitely find that. And it would be helpful for you, especially since we are literally in the last part of the month. But so I asked some of the 12Ks on the Dream Team if they would be willing to hop on some of the Monday night Zooms so that we could like dive into some topics and just so you can hear from other people besides me. And so today, Cassie is going to be with us. And when she and I connected this morning about like topics, like what should we talk about? You know, I was at first like, hey, Cassie, like, let's talk about your PPA and how high it is. And then we just started talking and she was actually, and I don't want to steal her thunder, but we ended up shifting gears completely. And so as you know, this Zoom is going to be about keeping customers, because I think we do talk a ton about getting customers. We talk a ton about reach outs, customer service, trial packs, Facebook posts, going live. We talk about that a ton, and that's the fun part, right? That's the exciting part. But once you have the order placed, to me, that's when the real work starts, because now you have a brand new person with a brand new product. Some of them are going to listen to you. Some of them aren't. Some are going to follow directions. Some of them aren't. Some are going to let it sit on the kitchen table for a week, Sandra Dilbeck. Some of them won't, right? Like everybody's going to do like something different. And so Cassie, can you unmute yourself, hon?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So Cassie, go ahead and tell them like what you told me today your struggle has been.
Okay, so my struggle has been, so getting customers isn't the thing. It is, and it's not all of them about keeping them, but some of them, I'll just, always check my cloud office and I see they automatically, even if I check on them and they're like, oh, everything's going great, I'll see their auto ship's deleted. So I'm like, is anything going wrong? Do you need help with anything? And there's multiple reasons they say, like they cancel. Like I've had one that said, well, I got a headache. So I just, stopped doing it for a few days. And I was like trying to explain to her, remember we talked about the detox, these are things that you go through with detox. You just got to keep going, try to reassure them. I always try to use the group chats, especially with Edie, but some people are reluctant about group chats. They don't want to get too personal with people they may not know. So I have found that being a challenge, like even to get them to participate in a group chat. Some of them do, because I've done some with you, Tammy, and then some with Edie and some with Sam too, I think. But then like I had two people that not canceled, but they skipped the whole month. And I was like, well, what's going on? Oh, well, both of them had one on vacation. Oh, well, we just stopped doing it while we were on vacation for 3 weeks. So I was like, you didn't have to stop. You can still do it while you're on vacation. So the thing is, like, even if I'm reaching out to them and they're saying like they're doing good, like another person, she was having problems with the patches and the rashes, like that. It also can be a part of detox. I was having those same issues in the beginning when I started. And I talked to you about it, Tammy, and, you're telling me that, my body could be acidic. I need to up my water. So that's what I did. And with time that passed. Mm-hmm. So I think it's like, I don't know if it's like, they just don't want to hurt my feelings. Maybe, I don't know how to explain that, but mm-hmm. I've pulled some of them back. Mm-hmm. I don't want to say a lot, but some have like skipped a month, and then I've gotten some to come back, after I said, remember, this is what we talked about with detox and all that. And I promise you it's going to pass, and it will pass. I promise, everybody's different. It may take a little longer for you. It may pass very quickly. Mm-hmm. Just everybody is different with how they go through detox, but don't give up, keep going. So that has been my struggle. And like I said, I've gotten some back. Some just maybe can't afford it at the time and they cancel. So always reaching out to everybody. Like I make my own like personal videos and send them to my customers. through like private messenger, stuff like that.
Good.
Like with how to like, manage their auto ship and stuff like that. And then they're like, thank you, good information, good. But, when it comes time to manage the auto ship, instead of managing it like, hey, you can push it 10 days out if you need to, they just delete it. And I'm like, you don't have to delete it. You can, because I feel like when they delete it, and some of them I've had to send reminders like, don't forget about your auto ship. And then they're like, oh yeah, I almost forgot. So then they add it back on. But I'm like, you never have to delete it. You can just manage it.
Right.
So like change the date or whatever if you need to.
Okay.
So that's a big struggle when you have like 50 some customers you're trying to communicate with,
Okay. So let me ask then everyone who's on here tonight, start filling up the chat for me. What suggestions would you give based on this? So those of you that have been doing this a while, that you actually have auto shippers that are sticking with it, or you've had people drop off and come back, what would be some suggestions you would give Cassie? And also just show of hands for those of you that are actually on here, who has had this exact same problem? Right? Everybody has auto shippers that come and go. So what I want to talk about tonight, and please keep typing, filling up the chat with me, giving any suggestions that you might have. So Cassie brought up a really good point, the group chats. They are essential. And yes, I know some people won't talk in them, but what I have found is I'm just picking on people that are, your faces are on here. So let's say that Shantae is my customer and she's like, yeah, like we're in a group chat and Cassie's trying to ask her, how are you feeling? What's going on? And she won't answer. But she private messages Cassie and says, here's what I'm feeling. At that point, you have to take your answer back into the group chat. And I know it's tough and I know it's hard. And you're going to see some seasoned people on here nodding their head up and down. But you got to take the answer back into the group chat, because when it turns into a one-on-one, then it's going to turn into, like you said, they don't want to hurt your feelings. So they're just going to keep saying, yeah, I don't feel good, or yeah, I don't have the money, or yeah, I had that rash, or I had that headache. But when you take the question and or the answer, a lot of times too, it'll just be like, maybe they'll directly just say like, hey, Cassie, I had a headache, so I'm going to stop driving. Respond back to that in the group chat. Hey, Shantae, you mentioned that you had a headache, and I wanted to get some feedback from Tammy about that, because I want to make sure that like you're not allergic, or if something's going on, because we want you to have the best Thrive experience possible. So again, she doesn't have to keep talking. You've already said what the problem is, but you've brought it back into the group chat so the third party validation can come back in. And I think that the majority of people would agree, when something comes back into the group chat, it ends up getting resolved a heck of a lot quicker. Edie says, I always say it's time for your auto ship if you want to change the flavor of shakes or try it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Customer service wise, making sure you're following up. But it sounds like Cassie is following up with people and saying, hey, your auto ship's coming up. Dawn, I love the idea of sending self-help videos. How are you doing that? Okay. Cassie, can you unmute again? There you are. Can you answer Dawn's question on how you're doing these videos?
Yeah. So I just tape them like just on my phone camera, and then I send them like privately to everybody. Like, hey, this is how you go in, this is how you manage your auto ship. I show the screen, about referral customers. This is how you put a referral under you. You need 2 referrals on auto ship for that month to get credits on the second of the next month. And, this, always make sure your credits are enabled. Like I'll show them that. Those have been really helpful. But, and these are the customer, like some of the customers I've had from the very beginning, I have noticed, like I'll send them messages like, hey, your auto ship's coming up. And they're like, yeah, I already know. I'm like, okay, well, I just want to see if you want to change anything like Edie was saying, or change shakes or whatever. And a lot of those customers will be like, oh, what do you suggest? Mm-hmm. And one of my best customers, I don't want to say best customers because they're all great, but she ordered from Kansas from me after she's seen my story on the Lavelle fan page.
Nice.
And I talked to her a lot, and she was just like, what other suggestions do you have? And I'll be like, well, what are you looking to gain? and she'll tell me, and I'll be like, well, I think this will be good, to try. She's like, okay, great, thank you. But she always, like, I give her feedback, she takes my feedback, and then she'll be like, okay, yeah, this is all better, like, because at first she had a headache also, like, and I told her that was part of detox and it was past, and then the next week she was like, oh yeah, I'm feeling much better. And but some people I think they're just like, oh no, this doesn't work, or oh no, I can't do this because it gave me a headache. And like, some of them are very reluctant to take any feedback, like,
Right. So I don't know if you can see comments or not, but so to address, so Laura Wernsman has a comment here. She says, I think putting them in a group chat with someone who has had the same detox issues help a ton. And it does. And here's the thing, like, maybe Shantae is going through this detox and it lines up exactly with like what I felt. I could tell her that all day long. And I've probably already told her, but at some point in time, like before she ordered or way back when. So now it's a great time to start a secondary group chat and say, hey, Lisa, I wanted to introduce you to my friend Shantae. She's been thriving for a couple weeks and she's going through some detox. And I was pretty sure you went through something similar. Can you explain to her what you went through? And again, I know it's third party. I know some people are weird about like being personal, but we're not asking them to be personal. We're asking Lisa to be personal. We're asking Lisa to say, hey, air your dirty laundry. What kind of headaches did you have? Were you going to the bathroom a lot? Whatever it is. Did you have a rash? Whatever it is the person's talking about. Because you guys have to remember too, a lot of times, I don't think we always have to jump to detox. It's not always detox. Sometimes it's the wrong product or too much product for the person. So sometimes it's pulling back to one capsule. Sometimes it's not wearing a DFT for a few days. Sometimes it's getting them to talk about what medications they might be on. Maybe there's some interactions going on, something like that. So detox is a kind of a general thing. Drinking lots of water is obviously important. Cutting out the caffeine is important. But I think a lot of times when people hear detox, unfortunately, the word detox has been used way too much in the diet and health industry. And so it's kind of watered down. And so people just think, oh, well, I'm detoxing, no big deal. But there really could be something else going on. So that's why, to me, it's even more important when you put someone in a group chat to, again, the example, hey, Lisa, can you explain what was happening to you? Because we're really trying to find out what's going on with Shantae. We want to make sure she has the best experience. Because when people know that you're just trying to like if you guys have ever put them in a group chat with me, the first thing I do is I take everything you've told me, but I ask them again. I want them to tell me, hey, Cassie said you're having a headache. Can you talk me through how you're taking your Thrive, when you're taking it, what kind of food are you eating during the day? What's your schedule like? And usually we will come up with something that has nothing to do with detox. I can think of 5 group chats over the last 3 days alone where people had headaches and they didn't feel well because they were drinking their shake as breakfast and not eating anything until 2 or 3 in the afternoon. It had nothing to do with Thrive. Thrive was not their problem. It was stuff outside of Thrive. So again, I would be leery of answering someone right away saying, oh, that's probably detox. Like, instead of giving an answer, I would say, you know what? Like, I wouldn't even say anything. Like, so if Laura Wernsman was like, yeah, Tammy, I don't know about this. It's giving me a headache. I would immediately put her in a chat with Ricky. Be like, hey, Laura, this is my friend Ricky. When she first started thriving, I know she struggled with some issues too, and I was hoping she could help us with this problem. Like, acknowledge that it's a problem. Because I think a lot of times when we say, oh, it's detox, no big deal, that kind of, it's not like we're blowing people off, but it kind of makes them feel like what they're saying isn't very important, or like we don't think it's important. But then, Ricky might get on and be like, yeah, tell me what you're going through. Like, what time are you taking your Thrive? And when do you have your first meal? And are you working first shift or third shift? And like, the more we can find out about the person, the more we can actually start to discover that it's not Thrive. Because here's the thing. Some of us, like all of us, obviously, because we're on here and we love our Thrive, we are more than willing to go through some detox. If a new patch came out tomorrow and they were like, guess what? You're going to detox. You're going to feel like crap for 2 weeks, but then it'll be amazing. We will all ride that wagon. Every last one of us will be like, yeah, I'm on board. I don't care if I'm pooping for 2 weeks. Jason Camper says I'm going to feel great, right? We would all do it. Customers aren't going to do that. So if we can help them identify the problem, which is typically not even Thrive. So if someone is in like week 2 and they're still detoxing, what are they doing? How much caffeine are they drinking? Are they not eating? Are they not eating? Are they living off of beer and pizza still? Like, there's so much stuff that is happening that has nothing to do with Thrive. And I think, to me, when somebody is giving up on their auto ship, and again, it could be lots of things. Like it could be money. And you guys, a lot of times when it's money, people won't tell you that. They will make a different excuse because no one likes to admit that they're broke. And typically during the process of asking them what's going on, you can find out a little bit more information. And then you could say, because I feel like we can kind of start to put together, because you guys all know, like if we're in a group chat together, you and me, or you and your upline, you're in another chat and you're like, she's saying this, now what are we going to do? She's saying this. Sometimes you boil it down to, you know what? I think this month we should just do the capsules, because you can start to put together that maybe money is the issue and maybe somebody doesn't have 150, but we can salvage the customer, right? That's why group chats are so important. And and so Sam actually started her YouTube channel yesterday too, and she has an entire Zoom that they did last night about group chats and like some of the information. And one of the things that came out of that whole setting up the Zoom, and I want to make sure you guys do understand this, because again, I had never thought of this either until Samantha talked about it. We as your upline don't ask you to do group chats because we don't trust you. That has nothing to do with it. I know for a fact Sandra Dilbeck could tell everybody everything that they need to know. Like, not a problem. But group chats are amazing. Sandra says group chats info was phenomenal last night when we go to them. Why it's so important. Yes. The headaches was me. I did go through that, FYI. I send detox. Yeah. And so there are a lot of detox articles, but again, I don't like that we just jump on detox, because I just think the majority of times when we talk to people, I think the majority of times when I'm put in a group chat, people say, hey, Tammy, I think my friend is detoxing. And then when I actually talk to the friend, they're not detoxing. They're not eating, or they're still drinking a ton of coffee. Or the best are, like, you guys have to remember, when somebody starts Thrive for the first time, sometimes for the first time in their life, they start getting up early, they start taking Thrive, they stop eating lunch for whatever reason, or they stop eating breakfast, they start exercising like never before, and they don't understand why they don't feel good right away. Well, hell, they just went from living on McDonald's and 12 hours of sleep to this life change. And so sometimes it's just a matter of talking someone through that. So don't always, I guess my point is, don't always assume that it's Thrive that's causing the problem. Because I feel like more often than not, it's not Thrive causing the problem. Now, if you tell me somebody has a big red rash and they're on month 2 or they're month 3, even that, we have a promoter who was put in a group chat with me the other day. And after I talked to her, she finally admitted about all the stress she was under. Well, you guys, stress will cause your body to be completely different. And so she had been thriving fine with her patches for a month or more, and then now all of a sudden she wasn't. So what do you think the problem was? Right? So again, that's why I think group chats are so important. So whether you're putting someone in a group chat or whether you're the person that got put in the chat, remember when they bring someone to you and say, hey, my friend doesn't feel good, my friend is, headachy, or my friend blah, 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 blah. Don't just accept it as, oh, wow, Thrive is causing a problem. Because remember, Thrive is just nutrition. And it's gluten-free. It's, it's not like the kind of, it's not like we didn't go to Subway and get a sandwich kind of nutrition. Like, it's like literal nutrition. So the majority of time, there's not something in there that's going to be wrong with the Thrive. It's going to be something outside that they're doing. Courtney says, yeah, I'm in a group chat right now. Customers complaining about not feeling anything. I come to find out she's been drinking Death Wish coffee. And yes, that is a real product. Never heard of it. Sounds horrible. Hideous marketing on that company's part. But yeah, so see, a lot of times, oh, I missed a comment. I'm sorry, eating. I felt great for 2 weeks and then began feeling sluggish. I wasn't eating because my usual choices didn't seem appealing anymore. Honestly, yeah, exactly. So again, people are trying to change their food, or like, I know for me, I lived off of Coke Zero, and then all of a sudden one day I was like, it's all right. And then I'm like, now what do I do? So some people would literally just be dehydrated because it's not natural for them to drink water at that point, right? So everyone is learning. So to me, again, I guess this boils down to customer service, you guys, and you tell me what you think. We are selling solutions, but we can only give them a solution if we absolutely know the problem. And so, a lot of times, like if you guys have kids, Mommy, I don't feel good. Okay, let's figure this out. Does your head hurt? Does your belly hurt? Are you bleeding? Are you coughing? Like, right, you start asking questions. You start digging down to the problem. You start trying to figure it out because you know the last time you saw your kid, everything was fine, right? So same thing. When somebody comes to you and says, I don't know, I don't think I'm going to do this anymore because it turned my left eye green, whatever. They have the best excuses, right? Or my uterus fell out. That is legit an excuse that we have heard, you guys. I'm not even kidding you. You just got to start. I know everyone's laughing, but it's a legit thing. Sandra knows. Yeah. You just have to start asking the questions. But again, I feel like you are better off to not be the only one asking the questions because for two reasons. Now, so, and Cassie, this is a perfect example. Your girl from Kansas who doesn't really know you, she found you on Facebook. So like to her, and I hope this doesn't sound funny, but like to her, you're like a celebrity. You are this chick on Facebook who like has pictures and an article written about them on a Facebook page. Like you are basically a celebrity to her. She does not know you. So that's why when you suggest something, she's like, okay, Cassie said to try this. I'm going to try this. Same thing. When you put someone on the up, like when, like I always crack up and Tom will hear these too. I'll listen to the voice clip where somebody puts me in a chat and they're like, this is my friend Tammy and she is so good about blah. Like you guys just talk me up like I'm amazing. And I'm always like, oh my God, the pressure. Like now I have to be amazing. But that's edifying someone. That's being like, hey, this is our celebrity. This is my celebrity. This is the girl who's going to help you. This is the girl who I know is who you need. And that girl could be any of you. We just have to edify. I always talk to, yes. Oh, Sam, I'm serious. Like it's so funny. Like sometimes I'm like, wow, I want to meet this Tammy girl. Like after I hear my introduction, but that's how you want to introduce people when you put them in a group chat. So, and like Laura said earlier, it doesn't always have to be the same person. Like let's say you've had somebody in a group chat with me and we sealed the deal, we got the order, but now they're having a problem. And you know that they're feeling really sluggish and they're 2 weeks in. Well, guess what? Sonia felt the same way. Put him in a chat with Sonia. Be like, you know what? This Sonia girl is amazing. She works out. She's lost so much weight. She's so great. She rides a Harley. Like just Sonia is the best thing since bread and butter. And then when Sonia comes in, they're already like, oh my God, who is this girl? I'm so excited to meet her. And then Sonia's like, oh yeah, I don't think you're drinking enough water. Like, oh my God, I got to drink water because this Sonia girl said I had to and she drives a Harley. Like it's serious. You guys know what I know it sounds funny, but you know it's so true. And I love that you had that example of your girl in Kansas who you've never met because that literally proves my point. When you put someone into a group chat with someone they don't know, but you build them up before you do it, it's called edifying your leader or edifying your whoever you put in the group. Like that will help bring someone into the message and make them pay attention. Like if somebody's like, yeah, I don't know, that's my friend Tammy. She thrives too. Like, it's probably, they're like, great, another thriver. It's going to talk about this thrive crap, right? But we're like, oh my gosh, she's been doing it for years. She's a trainer. She knows so much. Like, it's so funny. You're like, she knows so much about the body. People actually say I know stuff about science, which is hilarious because I don't really. But like, then the person's like, oh, well, I think I do want to hear what this person has to say. So again, it all goes back to that group chat. Now, again, sometimes it's going to come down to money. Same thing in the group chat. We're going to figure out what can you afford, right? If this is too much, if 150 is not going to cut it, 200, whatever, what can you afford? What is your biggest issue? If they say to me, my biggest issue in life is I can't sleep, then maybe they just need a box of rest gel to hold them over until they can get some money saved up, right? And I think that you just have to, again, we have to keep in mind what is most important to the customer. What is the biggest issue they're dealing with? How can we get to the root of that problem? What product do we offer that would give a solution? But again, when you like, if you find yourself going back and forth in a private message with somebody, just stop. Just stop. You don't have to say anything. Just stop. And immediately put them in a group chat and be like, you know what? I've been going back and forth with Ricky and she's not feeling good. And it dawned on me, I needed to get her connected with Laura because Laura is so good. Laura has a nutrition certification. She's been thriving for 5 years. She is amazing and she is going to help us fix this problem. And then the big thing, then step out of the way. You just made this person be like amazing. So let that person be as amazing as we possibly can. Because again, you guys, like getting the customer is the fun part. Keeping the customer can be a challenge. Now we all like, you're going to have custom, like, okay, so Laura Wernsman was like, hey, what's that sticker? And I was like, it's called Thrive. And she ordered it. And now look at her. Easiest customer ever. Right. But then I have some customers who, I don't know, we set up accounts in 2015 and they just finally ordered a couple weeks ago. Right. So you're going to have customers all over the board, but the support that you can offer that customer is massive because you have an entire team to support you. You have an entire upline to support you. And outside of like your direct upline, they have uplines. Like you have tons of support to help with all the things. But the issue a lot of times is we just try to take it on ourselves. And so instead of, you know, like if you had a piece of furniture to move and I was like, fine, I'll help you. It'll be me and you, we'll move this, versus I'll be like, hey, I'll call the dream team. They'll come in, we'll get the whole house moved in 10 minutes. Like, let the whole team support you through this. I just said to my newest customer, Tammy is so smart. Don't be afraid to get to the root of the problem. And you guys, you're gonna find people who won't talk. You can't do anything about that. You cannot make someone talk. You cannot make someone share. We have no idea what's going on in people's lives. Even our bestest friends have things in their lives we have no idea about. So all you can do is be like, you know what? No problem. I'm sorry we couldn't figure this out. We'll go ahead and get this auto ship taken care of. And then you stay in touch with them. That's where, again, customer service comes in. You're not going to keep every auto shipper all the time. I had a girl who dropped off a couple months ago. Actually, when I sent her my standard, you know, hey, you're on my list. And we had been chit-chatting back and forth. She'd been in Florida. She kind of caught me off guard. She was like, yeah, I think I want to be done with auto ships for now. And then she gave me her reasons and they were valid and legit. And I was like, you know what? No problem. She had like a major life event in her family and money was tight. Not a problem. So then I kept in touch with her last week. Because that's the thing too. I keep pushing them on my calendar. Like I keep making sure I don't lose track of them. That's, again, customer service. That's the work part on your part. I just sent her a message and I was like, hey, you've got to be missing your Thrive. It's been a couple months. Are you ready to get back yet? And that was bold and gutsy on my part. And you know what she wrote back? Yes. So just because they quit doesn't mean they're gone forever. Just because they cut back to just capsules doesn't mean they're gone forever. It's what they need in that moment. I mean, you guys have all been shopping where, like, have you all been car shopping and they just want to keep throwing stuff at you and you're like, I don't want that. Like a guy was like, why wouldn't you want this? Like the car drives itself. I'm like, I absolutely don't want that. That isn't, oh yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. And I'm like, I'm a control freak. Like take the time to get to know me and find out that this is the last thing I want. And the sheer fact you just told me that car can drive itself makes me think it's going to turn it on when I'm in the middle of the road and I don't even want to be in your dealership. Right? Like talk to the person, find out what's going on in their life. I always tell people, Tammy's a trainer and my ingredient guru. Tammy, you're the bomb. You guys are so sweet. You totally say you know a lot about science. The lady I put you in a chat with, she said, I do not want to, yes. So exactly, Ricky did throw me in a chat, I don't know, a week or two ago. And the girl just flat out said, I don't want to talk in a group chat. And I was like, you know what? We'll be respectful of that. Let us know when, you know, you want help kind of a thing. And that's, you just have to be respectful. Oh yeah, poor Sandra. We got in a group chat one night and the lady was like, something like, can you stop this? It's driving my dogs nuts. Or I don't know what the heck. I don't know if she meant the ding in the phone, whatever. But again, some people don't want help in the moment. So it all goes back to what I always say. We do our part, right? So we do the reach outs. We offer the support. We offer the solutions. We offer whatever it is that we can offer. And then it's up to them. It's the whole thing. You can take a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. And I'd say for every 12 horses you bring to the water, there's going to be 3 or 4 that aren't going to drink. And that's out of your hands, but it doesn't mean they're not going to get thirsty later, right? They might circle back later. So we can't be everyone's cup of tea. Exactly. It's exactly right. I'd rather be I'd rather be their cup of whiskey anyway. Now the chat's funny. So I hope this helped. We're down to a minute. I know basically my whole answer just went back to group chats, but I feel like we talk a lot about like doing the group chat, but it's not just a matter of throwing someone into a group chat. It's making sure you edify the person that you're putting in the chat. And it's also realizing that you have way more people to put in your chat than just your upline. You can pull from anybody. You can literally go on Dream Team and be like, hey, who who had a headache for the first 2 weeks that they thrived. And whoever responds, you can put them in the group chat. I created a group chat with Sam and a potential, and they never responded in the chat, but they did message me separately. So it did catch their attention. Yes, and you'll have that. And when they ask a question, Roxanne, respond to that question back in the group chat. Any of you guys that are promoters, you'll see that. You'll send me a message. I will respond to your question in your group chat. I do that for 2 reasons. Number one, to remind you have a group chat. And number two, if I'm answering you, you and everyone else in that chat needs to know the answer. We all have to be on the same page. So work those group chats. Anyway, lots of information. Cassie, thank you for sharing with us. I think it's so important that we all know that, you know, Cassie's obviously rocking her business. I mean, she just said she has 50 some customers, but guess what, guys? She struggles too. So we're all on the same boat. We've all got problems, but together we can fix them. So I hope this helped tonight. If you guys need anything else, let me know, and I'll see you next week. Bye.